welcome to season 2 of the What to Say TV show. I am so excited because this season is going to be even more exciting, more fun, and even more entertaining. We're hoping to make it better than season 1. We'll have a fantastic lineup. There will be lots of guests waiting for you, and I'm going to be getting them to reveal their tips and tricks and even some of their secrets. Whether you are a business leader, an entrepreneur, or public speaker, or whether you just want to learn more how to communicate more effectively, this show is for you. So join me and keep watching so that you can learn what to say. Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the What to Say TV show, where we explore all things communication. I'm DrJulee, your host, and I am so lucky and so fortunate to have with me actually a new friend. It's really cool. This lady is a pillar of her organization. She is knowledgeable. And today we're going to talk about all things communication in relation to what she does. Her name is Marie Christine. She goes by MC. And as you can see by her, the background she has, she works for a company called C Prime. And I'd like to hear a little bit, introduce yourself, because nobody can do it better than you can. So please introduce yourself, and then we're going to get into our talking.
Thank you, Dr. Julie. So nice to be on here today with you. I am ecstatic. And by the way, congratulations on winning the Stanley Cup yesterday. It was Montreal against Tampa, so we were both rivals. But I think something amazing came out of it, which was team spirit. And sometimes we forget to celebrate and have fun and cheer us on. So
yeah, we
thank
saw
you
some
for
of those
inviting me.
games. That was great, wasn't it? Fun. Good fun.
It was really nice. And listen, I'm elated to be on the podcast with you today and to kind of chit chat around communications and people and agile and business and just being real in life. Well, my name is Marie Christine Legault. I'm based in Montreal and I head C Prime Canada. It's a lovely adventure that started about 8 months ago. C Prime USA came knocking on my door and asked me to represent C Prime and head Canada. And it's been a whirlwind, and it has been a fantastic journey so far. Every day when I close my laptop, I'm smiling. And I think that what illuminates my days is how I get to embrace conversations, embrace what we're doing, and how to communicate it well, as much with my colleagues around the world and my different partners and collaborators that I work with and our clients. I'm all about transparency and being so real in relationships are so key. So that's very much the mindset that I work with, and it's called agility. It's all about human values. And it's about being transparent and being collaborative and being honest and respectful. But it's also being courageous and vulnerable and learning how to listen to others. You can only communicate well if you know how to listen and listen well.
Wow, that's absolutely so true. You said so many points and touched on so many things. I know that for me, working in research area of unlearning, where you unlearn unproductive skills, you remain agile. That's really a very important thing. I think when you communicate with others, to be present in the moment, really lean in, really focus on what they're saying. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons that we were able to hit it off so easily and so well, because we both use that strategy of leaning in and really being present and really connecting. Let's talk a little bit about what's the way that you feel that's the easiest to connect to others, especially in your organization. I know the mission, vision, and values are so important, and you remain focused. How do you connect with those other people on your grand team?
passionate and people person. And I try to zone in into what people like, what makes them tick. I try to be also personal, also very, very quickly, and kind of zone in on their personalities and who they are and what they like and why they're here and what are they going to do. And it's those 5 W's: who, what, where, when, and how, that I quickly try to embrace when we're talking. And often we're either working on a project or we're working on a client opportunity, and sometimes it's a product. Sometimes it's branding and marketing. And hey, listen, I have to get C prime on everybody's lips in Canada, like chapstick. That's my first mission. So the way that I try to connect with people and communicate is, if I'm a happy person and I'm smiling, well, that allows the conversation to step in smoothly. I'm also all about action. I like zeroing in directly into what are irritants, what's going well, what isn't, how can I help, what type of solution are you looking for. I'm not the type to go around the pot a lot. I like going and zoning in directly into a need and something that will connect us. I'm all about action. I think action brings interaction, and interaction brings opportunities to connect even more, like you were saying. That's how we connect the dots.
Yeah. And I think you really hit upon something that's super important when you talk about communication, is to be, when it's appropriate, be direct. That's all about being heroically communicative. And I find that having those heroic conversations are so important, because we can dance around it, we can be tactful, but it's important to be vulnerable and able to get that communication. Everybody is not perfect, as you just heard me mumble that through. I've been on Zoom calls, presenting papers and doing all kinds of different things, and yet I'm still maintaining my authenticity, and I'm trying to maintain, that heroic things. And when I communicate, can you speak to being heroic when you communicate? How do you do that? What do you think it means?
Being heroic. Well, that brings me on a posture of servant leadership. Servant leadership is about seeing what others need to be able to go to that goal or that target, and being able to focus on the appropriate needs of what either your colleagues, your clients, your partners need. Sometimes it can be friends or family members. Servant leadership is very much a posture. In French, we call it savoir-être and savoir-faire. It's how do we do and how do we do better. So being heroic, it's certainly not doing things alone. I'll tell you that much. It's being able to sometimes take a step back. And we were talking about listening, but it's understanding needs and why are we doing this? The whole why with Simon Sinek, which is so popular right now. But how are we going to do it and what are we going to do is very key. So being heroic, I think I'm very much of a team player. I always say that we are better together. That is like really, really important. And the last thing that I would add is I always start with one question. Whatever I've been doing in the last 20, 25 years has been, what's in it for them? Yeah. And if I cannot answer that, I'm not going to bring a project, a product, or anything of value to that person. Yeah. That would mean that I did not listen and I didn't zero in on a specific need. So what's in it for them is key. And that's where the conversation starts. In business or in friendship, for me, that is very, very key.
Wait, you want some more?
And I think you've hit on a real opportunity here. It's all about the person and their pain, and how do we solve those pains? And I don't care whether you are a lady and you're worried about your wrinkles. That's a problem to that person. They want to solve those wrinkle problems, and they're going to buy whatever it takes. Or if you have a coaching solution, the person needs to realize that there is a problem that they have. When I do that with my coaching clients, and they're having difficulty communicating, maybe in the English language, or I'm having them and they're salespeople or they're speakers and they want to communicate better. That is a problem for them because they are limited as to what they can do. They want to come into the international market. How do they do that? Well, that's where the coaching takes place. And I think when you build your team, you work with different people, different cultures, different things. And again, assessing each individual team player and making sure that those people have a pain that you can solve or work together to solve with your clients. Talk to that a
Or
little
how
bit.
we're going to go about it, Julie, how we're going to go about it. When I was talking about agility, agility is about inspecting and adapting and getting feedback. All right.
Yeah.
So I like to break down things in little bite sizes. I call it little modules if you want, or in agility, they call it in an iterative fashion. So that means we all have projects to deliver. We all have products that we're working on or services. But if we start breaking it down and inspecting and adapting what's working and what isn't, and getting feedback immediately, I am the type of person that likes to break down things in little pieces that are edible, that
Well,
are doable.
and you
Because
know for a fact, how do you eat an elephant?
one bite at a
One
time.
bite at a time, right?
Albert Einstein said a quote one day that has marked my life since I was 16 years old. And it was basically, you can't expect things to change if you keep doing over and over the same thing.
Yeah.
And I often find when I coach or when I work on teams or I work with, different clients, if we bring it back to the agile approach and that mindset, is that if you break it down into little pieces and you go get the feedback, you are avoiding what half the population does or businesses do. They work on projects and they refine them and refine them and refine them. They're sometimes at version number 9 and they haven't gotten any feedback since the very beginning. So
nothing gets done.
No, and that's a waste of time, energy, and money. You got it.
Rework is the dearth of every organization. How many times are you going to rework that same thing? I mean, communicate upfront, set expectations. Those are the things that helps us to be fast and flexible organizations. And I can see you do that every day of your.
I call it the napkin approach. I remember in the old days, I used to work in advertising and marketing, and I always used to sketch an idea, a theme, or something to the client and kind of push it across the table and say, does this resonate? Does this speak to you? Do you like this? And if they would say no, then I would not work on it. But if you said, hey, wait a minute, there's something there, I got feedback right away. I would validate. And in business, if you pivot that way, because things are moving so fast and it's so difficult, it's tiresome. And if you know that you're moving on the right track and you're getting feedback and it's being acknowledged at the same time, that energizes too.
Yeah.
And those two go together. And it's really, really important to stop doing all these versions and making things beautiful when you haven't even validated the base. If your clients love what you're doing. Yeah. And in coaching, and it's a bit the same thing. You don't give the whole program to students. The same thing in learning. You start with an intro, and then you show them what they're going to get out of it. And then we go back to what's in it for them. Exactly. And then it's the art of getting them engaged and inspired and being passionate about what we're going to be doing and trying to show them what's the end result we're aiming for. I often find that what's lacking and in executive positions, stakeholders, or huge enterprises and organizations, what we're aiming for, let's say there's a dartboard, we're aiming for this. The way that it's communicated, it's often within groups or peers. It's not top down. We forget to communicate in a way that this is where we're going, this is why we're doing it, and repeating it. Nobody understands things the same way. Nobody has the same background, the same colors, have lived the same, ups and downs in their lives. So it's important to communicate and do it often, and to make sure that everybody's at the same place or close or understand. I don't know many people that are vulnerable in board meetings and whatnot, lifting up their hand and saying, I don't get it. They're all going,
Not one
"Yep,
person is
I'm
ever
good
going to
enough."
do that. Oh yes, yes, and think about, think about the, is it the Canadian geese that fly south for the winter? They always fly in a V shape,
Yes.
but not the first guy in the line. He often drops back and lets someone else take the lead when it's appropriate, it's time, he's tired, whatever. And they never leave their compatriots behind. So when you communicate, it's important to check in, continue to get that buy-in, and make sure you're not leaving people behind, because that will be the problems that you will face, the unintended consequences down the road when you're sitting there saying, well, why wasn't I ever informed? Well, guess what?
Julie,
You made your own problem as the leader or manager, because you didn't communicate effectively, efficiently, and often enough the mission, vision, and values of where are you going, So in other words, don't be a goose, make sure make sure that you're not left behind. keep in the V, guys.
keep flying in the right direction. I get it. And I love what you're saying with that example, because I think people also understand better when we give examples. It brings images to their minds, or that it resonates in a way. There's a tool that I've been using. It's called a daily. It's a daily stand-in. I've been doing it for the last 12 years. I do it with clients. I do it with clients and colleagues, teams, and also the executive stakeholders in companies where I work. And basically that daily, believe it or not, the Queen Elizabeth has been doing it for the last 16 years.
Really? I didn't know that. Oh my goodness.
Basically, in a nutshell, this is what a daily is. There's 3 questions. What did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? What's blocking you? What did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? What's blocking you? When I was on my leadership team, an executive team, I did this for 7 years. In 10-15 minutes, I would know everything that was happening in the whole organization in 10-15 minutes. No more Monday meetings that are an hour and a half. I'm talking about 10-15 minutes.
We all hate that.
Queen has her 5 secretaries come in, no laptops, no notebooks, no iPads, no phones, no nothing. Know your stuff.
Be present.
And basically, she asks everyone, what did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? Anything blocking you? Can you imagine if somebody's repeating that they're working still on the same thing? That was something that blocked them. But so it's very, very quick to zero in and zone in on somebody that's having an issue and that doesn't even realize it, or that's using it as an excuse. How many people have said, oh, I couldn't do this because this person's on vacation, or she didn't send me an email, or I didn't get it, I didn't know. But you avoid all the excuses by saying these 3 little questions.
And the other one that I like, and I remember hearing of that, and I didn't know Queen Elizabeth did that. That's fairly cool to know. But the other one that I really like is from the military. It's called the After Action Report. And I've sort of modified the questions a little bit because it takes the blame out of it, because that's a very big thing. People don't want to admit their vulnerability. But the question, those three questions, same idea is what worked, what did not work, and
What
what
can we
could
improve?
be done differently. And
That's it.
that's where the blame goes away. And people are like, oh, that didn't work. And I do that a lot with my speaker trainers because they don't know how the audience has perceived them, or some kind of sales presentation, or a doctoral student that's trying to, what worked for you, what didn't work for you, and what could be done differently. And I think that removes the upset and the vulnerability, but yet it gives good, cohesive, targeted feedback that the person needs to do and improve. And I love both of these. I could
Yeah,
see
I love what
using
you're
both
saying
of
because
those.
I do something very similar that is called the retro. C Prime's all about people, products, processes, and technology. And technology is moving so fast, but there's basic communication tools that are out there very close and similar to what you were saying. I call it the retro. Okay. Every time there's a project or a product that has just being launched or
Just
is,
dropped, yeah.
being finished, we do a retro. And we try to do it that it's very visual also. All these little stickies and whatnot.
Love those
I
things.
use them a lot because first of all, people don't feel intimidated because they don't have to write down long reports. It can be just one sentence or it can be just one word. And a retro is basically very similar to what you said. It's basically what went well, what didn't go well, and where can we improve as a team.
I like it. Like it.
And it's funny, I pass these around and everybody kind of writes it down. And if it's on Zoom, there's no problem. And sometimes it's incredible to see how what was very important for one person wasn't important at all for the other team members. So it helps us to validate and start and kickstart conversations
Right.
so that we can all improve and learn from one another. And when you are vulnerable and when you are, it's embarrassing sometimes. I don't know a lot of people that know how to lift up their hand. I remember my mom, I was really bad in math. And in grade 4, I had Monsieur Thibault, who was my teacher in math, and I never understood when he was explaining. I don't know why, I just didn't get it. So she always used to say, my mom, lift up your hand, ask, you might help your other little buddies in the classroom.
But
But lifting up my hand was embarrassing. I was shy, but you know what? It gave me courage after a while because I wanted to get it.
yeah. Yeah, the first time though, but the thing is you have to admit that the communication was a failure. You have to admit, or you have to admit that you were the failure. And that's a hard thing for some people. They don't want to put themselves out there because they think that people have memories of elephants, which half the time, I always tell people, don't get so focused on yourself. Most of the people in the world are so concerned with themselves that they aren't even paying any attention to you at all. So I think that's, they're busy, they're focused in on themselves. So admit mistakes, learn from your mistakes, accept good feedback. And, and
I
that
love
is
what you're
it.
saying, Julie, because it's fail fast, learn from it and share. Fail fast. We always say that at C Prime. I mean, even with our clients don't have all the answers. We don't have all the answers, but it's
Nobody
when we come
does.
together that we can, I think, tune in to people or dial down.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all into that dial, turn it up or turn it lower. And, I had learned when I had done my coaching that there's 5 different the blessure is when you were hurt when a child, and it's like not being seen, not being heard, not being listened to, not wanting to be abandoned, and not wanting to be rejected. Well, guess what? We all have a little bit of that inside of us, and some are stronger and some are not as present. But when you are in a meeting or you're talking with a client or partners or you're coaching, this is what you have to zero in. If somebody's talking all the time, it's because, well, they need to be heard.
Yeah, exactly.
It tools you.
And that is again like what we just talked about. What's in it for them, and also how can you be into self-leadership? You have to lead by example. You have to manage yourself first before you can put anybody else's oxygen on, put your own on. I think that really speaks to that. And I'd like to have some final thoughts here. I got to have you back on because we've got so many more things to talk about. Please give people your contact information, and we'll have you back on because you're just too interesting. I love it.
You're a sweetheart. Thank you. I mean, these questions are so important also. I think you raise discussions and reflections, Julie, that are key and that are often overpassed. And it's really, really important. And it's not easy. There's always going to be bumps in the roads. Nothing is like a quick deal or you learn it the very first time. It's like when you try and do a diet. There's ups and downs, but I often ask people to cross their arms. Cross your arms, Julie, real quick. Cross your arms. On the count of 3, I'm going to ask you to cross them the other way. 1, 2, 3. Well, when you're learning something new and you want to communicate, it's not always natural. It's not always easy. And I think
I hate to tell you, MC, I do that same activity in all of my unlearning discussions. Gotcha. So
listen,
we
Julie,
might think alike.
I'm going to invite you at Elevate with Grit. That's my podcast. I absolutely want you there. I think you have so much to offer. You're so colorful. And not just that, I think it's good common sense, and we have to share what we know. We've got that pack sack full of tools there. Let's get it out there and share it. I mean, people can reach me at cprime.com. On LinkedIn, it's Marie-Christine Legault, it's MC Legault, and I will be more than happy to promote you, my dear, or salute you at the same time, because you do so much good work, and I just want that spotlight on you, Julie.
Yeah. Bless your heart. Bien sûr, everything I can do for you, return the favor anytime, anyway. I'm going to say, remember that you can save time, energy, and money if you work towards effective, targeted, important conversations, and go from here and forward by knowing what to say. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care. That concludes our show for today. Thank you so much for watching, and don't miss our next episode. Remember to subscribe to our channel, and see you next time on the What to Say TV show right here on MUPO Entertainment.
Show the skill for your success. Top professionals call her to gain impact and speak confidently. She has shared the stage with serial entrepreneurs from JT Fox and George Ross to celebrities like Vanilla Ice and Jillian Michaels. Let DrJulee bring power to your business relationships.